Hello guys, welcome to the Crypto Matrix. I'm Mr. Legend. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the general cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin, the king of the market, trades around $62,807. Is the Bitcoin bottom in? Is this a good time to buy Bitcoin? What's in store for the general cryptocurrency market? We'll also look at news stories going around the cryptocurrency market. How has sentiment been affected by the swinging down prices, while market participants expecting lower prices? We'll talk about that and more in this video. Let's get down to business. Let's start with the price of Bitcoin. Bitcoin has gone from as high as $125,000 to as low as $58,000. Bitcoin currently trades around the 200-week moving average, and historically, guys, that has marked Bitcoin bear market bottoms. But then we have 2022, where Bitcoin went below that 200-week moving average, so there's no guarantee that we cannot drop further. But if you go back to 2020 during the COVID sell-off, we saw Bitcoin forming a bottom around that 200-week moving average. If you go back to 2018, similar story. Bitcoin was forming a bottom there, and even way back in 2015. But right now, sentiment is there in the cryptocurrency market, with Bitcoin trading around that $62,000 level. Market participants are scared to the teeth from the all-time highs where Bitcoin got to in October of 2025. We have seen Bitcoin dump by more than 53%. If this is the bottom for Bitcoin, guys, this will be the smallest, the shortest bear market dump we've seen for Bitcoin, because in 2022 we saw Bitcoin going from an all-time high of around $69,000 to as low as $15,000. It represented a 77% decline in price. And I remember in 2022, market participants were scared to buy around $15,000. The general consensus then was that Bitcoin was going to go to as low as $12,000. And why were market participants thinking so? It's because previous bear markets had seen Bitcoin dump by around 80+%. In 2018, we saw Bitcoin dumping by 80+%. We saw Bitcoin going from as high as $20,000 to as low as $3,000. That's an 83% decline. And way back in 2015, Bitcoin went from as high as $1,200 to as low as $164, which represented an 86% decline in price. Over the years, the bear markets have gotten shorter and shorter. Right now, we're down 53% from the all-time highs. If you look at sentiment in the cryptocurrency market, is nothing to write home about. Extreme fears gripping the cryptocurrency market day in, day out. Market participants are expecting lower prices. We had a little shift in sentiment yesterday and last week, where we saw the fear and greed index go from extreme fear towards fear, which was a good thing. But right now, we are deep back in extreme fear on the 14th of July 2026. And look at the fear and greed index over a period of 3 months to gauge how is sentiment flow in the cryptocurrency market. And we had a little relief in May 2020, 2026. We saw a little relief in May, where the general cryptocurrency market almost went to neutral sentiment. We saw Bitcoin also pumping a little during that period. Bitcoin went to as high as around $84,000, but then we have dumped back below $60,000. I expect sentiment to improve. I expect smart players to be making their move right now, because during extreme fear is when we see smart players buying the bottom, and that's when market participants that bought the previous top are selling the bottom. But smart players do it the opposite way. They buy the bottom and they sell the top. In 2022, when market participants were scared, FTX was collapsing, it felt like the end of crypto. Smart players were accumulating here, and in a few short months, we saw Bitcoin roaring back to new all-time highs. And I won't be shocked if similar situation is playing out right now, where we see smart players accumulating, while market participants that bought at the top are actually selling for huge losses. Record numbers of Bitcoin are in losses right now. If you look at the cryptocurrency market over the last 1 week, most coins are in losses. The last 1 month, few coins are in the positive. Liquidations has also been rising. The last 24 hours have seen more than 79,000 traders getting liquidated. Total liquidation is coming in around $289 million. The single largest liquidation happened on Binance. Trader lost $3.55 million. How has Bitcoin performed in the month of July? Funny enough, The market participants are very, very negative for Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin in Q3 is up 6.74%, even though Bitcoin in the month of July is up 6.74%, but it doesn't feel that way. It still feels like we're far off from a price where market participants will get excited. And where do I think that price will be? I believe above $84,000 is when you see a lot of market participants getting excited. And that's when you might start seeing a little FOMO returning back to the market from where we're currently trading right now for Bitcoin to rally past that 83 to $84,000 level. Need around a 32% pump to the upside. If you know anything about Bitcoin, when it gets moving very, very fast. Now let's look at some news stories going around the cryptocurrency market. First, BTC speculators in focus as analysis says textbook Bitcoin bottom is underway. Analysis flagged the Bitcoin moving average derivative that last triggered at the end of 2022 bear market as BTC price action returns to its reversal zones. Bitcoin bottom will be very, very obvious in hindsight. That's how it always looks because when we're at the bottom, there's always extreme fear. When we're at the bottom, the general consensus that we're going to continue going down to Goblin Town. But in hindsight, it always looked very, very obvious. As I told you guys earlier in the video, in 2022, Bitcoin traded first around $17,000. We saw Bitcoin even getting to as high as $24,000, hovering around that 200-week moving average. It didn't feel like the bottom was in. We saw FTX collapsing. Bitcoin went further down to Goblin Town, getting to as low as $15,000. And the sentiment then was that $12,000 was on the horizon. Many market participants were waiting for $12,000, but they were very, very wrong because after Bitcoin's RSI showed a bullish divergence, it was just up only for Bitcoin. Another important metric to watch out for, guys, is Bitcoin cost of production. Historically, Bitcoin bear market bottom have occurred around the cost of production band. If you look at what Bitcoin did way back in 2022, we got to that cost of production band that formed the bear market bottom. Right now in 2026, Bitcoin has been in that cost of production band since February of 2026. I'll not be shocked to see Bitcoin really giving a lot of market participants time to accumulate. We've spent, we've spent around 161 days around this concept of production band. So when we get going, we might get going very, very quickly. So more bad news, depending on where you stand on the aisle. If you're a long-term buyer, you see it as a good news. MicroStrategy sells $467 million in MicroStrategy sales, leaves 843,775 BTC stack untouched. Over the last 1 month, we've had news stories of Michael Silo and MicroStrategy selling some of their Bitcoin, trying to get some cash, and it got a lot of market participants panicking. But right now, Strategy has boosted its US dollar reserves to $3 billion after selling $466 million in MicroStrategy shares while keeping their Bitcoin on chain. Is Marcelo going to eventually get liquidated? Only time will tell. But right now, he's stacking as much Bitcoin as possible. Has over 800,000 coins. We'll see how this will end in the future. Bitcoin wheels moves $188 million for the first time in 7 years. The dormant will transferred BTC worth $188 million after 7 years of holding, adding to the growing ratio of will transfers to cryptocurrency exchange. Historically, wills only transfer at the bottom or at the top. But when you see old wallet like this transferring, it usually signifies maybe just maybe there's still room for more downside. Maybe just maybe he's trying to change wallet, but one thing is sure, old wallets only move when something big is about to go down. BTC price gains almost 10% in July, but traders still see BTC copying 2022 bear market. And that's what happened in 2022. A lot of traders were seeing BTC copying the bear market of 2018 and they got taken out because you cannot anticipate exactly what Bitcoin will do. You can only plan for the best, you can only do your best and expect Bitcoin to do the rest. In 2022, the bear market stopped around 77% down from the all-time highs. Right now, we're down 53% from the all-time highs. And if you're waiting for 77% down from the all-time highs, it means you're waiting to buy Bitcoin when it gets to as low as $30,000, maybe lower than that. But one sure indicator that has worked over the years for Bitcoin has been this Bitcoin cost of production band. Yes, we might leave the cost of production band at some point, but we don't The price doesn't diverge so far from the cost of production band since when Bitcoin has been created. So I don't think this time will be different. I believe the same situation is playing out. Bitcoin is forming a bottoming pattern. If you look at Bitcoin's RSI over the last few months, we have seen the price set a lower low without the RSI setting a lower low. And that is very, very bullish if you believe in Bitcoin long term. Bitcoin price bull market to begin in September. 5 things to know about Bitcoin. Bitcoin bear market bottom due around September or October. I saw the same fallacy happen in 2022 as I told you guys earlier, when there's a general consensus about where the bottom will come in, about when you should start buying. You want to play smarter because the crowd is always wrong at the extreme. At the top, the crowd is always wrong. At the bottom, the crowd is always wrong. I remember at the end of 2025, general consensus was we are going to have the best Q4 in Bitcoin's history, yada yada yada, and Bitcoin top in the first few days of that Q4 of 2025. So don't be shocked to see, guys, the next few months we see Bitcoin roaring to higher prices, while of market participants still expect us to go down to gobbling town. Bitcoin returned to $64,300 with new 3-week high, BTC price high imminent. Sentiments quickly shifted over the last 3 days, even though now we're back to extreme fear. We saw sentiments in the cryptocurrency market return to fear yesterday. Last week, saw also fear in the cryptocurrency market. Hopefully, the next few weeks will see us return to neutral sentiment and maybe even get back to grid, going to new all-time highs. So, guys, drop it out in the comment section right now. Sentiment is not that great in the cryptocurrency market. Tell me, are you buying more Bitcoin right now? Are you accumulating, getting ready for the future? Don't forget to subscribe, drop your comments in the comment section. See you guys in my next video. Bye.